Hello and welcome back to another Gazetinha from Gazeta Brasil. My name is Ewan Marshall, and on this week's show, in an attempt to distract ourselves from Brazilian politics, we're going to look at the Brazilian title race, which is the tightest it has been in years. We've also got some breaking and entering, some assault, some theft, some property damage at one of the country's biggest clubs. And finally, we're also going to look at the national team and look forward to their World Cup qualifier against Ecuador this week. So stay tuned. So we begin today looking at the Brazilian Championship and the title race, as we have just over 3 months left to play and we still have 6 sides in with a shout of winning the trophy. Leading the way are Palmeiras on 43 points, who are closely followed by Flamengo, then Atlético Mineiro, Corinthians, and we also have Grêmio and Santos behind on 36 points. So this level playing field is actually a traditional characteristic of Brazilian domestic football, as in most European leagues you have maybe a handful of big sides who hand the title around amongst themselves. But in Brazil, because of its size, you have a massive amount of really big clubs, 12 to be exact, all with their own huge fan bases, deep footballing traditions and lofty expectations. Now, at this point in the season, you would have to look at the leaders Palmeiras as favourites for ending up with the title in December. They have the best home form, the best away form. They also have the best goal difference. And after a brief slump in form during the Olympics, they got back to winning ways last weekend with a 2-0 win over Fluminense. Elsewhere, Atlético Mineiro are picking up plenty of steam in third place. After a rough start to the season, they're really picking up the pace and they look like perhaps your second favourites for the title. Finally, Flamengo are a surprise inclusion in second place, not least because they've had to play the entire season without a home stadium, with the Maracanã still in the hands of the Olympic Planning Committee. Now, for more on why exactly Brazilian football is so evenly matched, check out the link to the left here, which is my blog post from this week on that very subject. And for profiles of all 6 of Brazil's title contenders, check out the link on the right. Meanwhile, at the bottom half of the table, São Paulo Football Club are in crisis, as we have talked about their political problems before, but things came to a head on Sunday morning when hundreds of São Paulo fans invaded the club's training centre in the to the west of São Paulo, threatened some of their players, stole some sporting equipment, and even physically assaulted midfielders Wesley and Michel Bastos. Some of the players were spared, however, with several of the fans taking time out from breaking the law to take a few selfies with the veteran Uruguayan defender Diego Lugano. So the motivation for this protest was the team's poor form on the pitch. They have been in awful form since being eliminated from the Copa Libertadores a few months ago, and just a few days before the protest, they lost an important cup match at home to 3rd Division side Juventude. Of course, the protest did not work at all, and the following day, they drew 0-0 against the lowly side Curitiba, showing that violence just does not work. Now, for the full story on the mess at São Paulo, the fans involved in this incident, and a very interesting eyewitness video, check out the link to the left, which is a blog post we put up earlier this week on Gazeta Brasil. Finally, the Brazilian national team are back in action this week as they're trying to get their World Cup qualification campaign back on the right track with a very difficult away game against Ecuador. The match is doubly important as it's also going to be the debut of the new national team coach Tite, who could not have picked a tougher game to start his reign as national team manager. Now, Brazil haven't won in the altitude of Quito since 1983, and in the 4 games that they've played against each other since, Ecuador came up with 2 victories and twice the 2 nations have drawn. Now, Tite's squad selection has certainly raised a few eyebrows, as because of the timing of this international break and the lack of time to train with the squad, he's picked a lot of members of the Olympics squad and also brought in a lot of players who he's worked with previously in his former clubs. So some of these names are quite forgotten, such as Shakhtar Donetsk's Tyson, and Spurs fans look away now, Tottenham Hotspur reject Paulinho. So in terms of how they will line up, it seems like Cheech is going to go back to his 4-1-4-1 system that he used at Corinthians and stole from Carlo Ancelotti at Real Madrid. So that means we will have Casemiro playing in front of the defence, Neymar out on the left, and either Gabriel Jesus or Gabigol at centre forward. So for more on Cheech's squad, check out my blog post here, linked on the left, and after the Ecuador game I'll put up my post-match thoughts. I'll add the link here on the right, so check both of those out. So that's all for this week. Let us know what you thought of the video and anything about this week's topics as well in the comments below. Make sure to check out all of the blog posts we referenced and follow us on Twitter, like our page on Facebook, subscribe to the YouTube channel of course. We will leave all of those links in the description below. And until next time, I'm Ewan Marshall saying ciao e até mais. And fora tema.